today, what you'll see is, we've made some introductions, but we'll make some other introductions to our dream team over here on Student Services. We'll provide you with a timeline in terms of your preparation for orientation. We have, many of you have seen Becoming Irish and have logged in. So we have some next steps and priorities there. And then there'll be an opportunity to speak to offer some questions up. And I would encourage you, even at this point, if you do have questions, we have an entire group here that are ready to answer. So if you want to pop those in the chat, please do so. And one person from our team will take a stab at it. So again, thank you so much for being here. And with that, I am going to pass it off to our Director of Operations, Maria McCoy, to introduce herself and her team.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I am Morgan McCoy, Director of Operations for Mendoza Graduate Programs. Our operations team works in great partnership with our student services team to make sure that we provide you with the best experience possible while you're here on campus. So I'm going to really quickly just introduce the members of my team, and I'm going to ask them to just briefly unmute themselves and say hello or good morning so that their Zoom window pops to the top of your list here. So first up, Jennifer Ransbottom, our Academic Operations Coordinator.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Welcome.
Next, we have Wendy Walker, Events and Program Manager.
Hello, it's nice to see everybody. It's exciting to watch the chat room and see where everybody's from and what programs you're with, and I'm looking forward to meeting you at orientation.
And then last but not least, on the operations team, Kalinda Hamilton, our Student Onboarding Coordinator.
Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you're here this morning.
Thank you, guys. So this is a team. We are working through a lot of the different things you're interacting with in Becoming Irish right now, or as you prepare for orientation. This team is working behind the scenes to get all those different checklist items in Becoming Irish for you, plan some really great events for you during your orientation experience on campus, and coordinating some of the behind the scenes around your courses and scheduling and registration. So like I said, we work in great partnership with Student Services, so I'm going to throw it to Teresa True to introduce her team.
Hello, everyone. I'm Teresa True. I'm the Interim Director of Student Services for the Specialized Master's Program at Mendoza. We are so happy to have you here today, and we're so excited that you're joining the Notre Dame family, so welcome. I've worked in student services for over 15 years, and at Mendoza, I work with the Masters of Science in Accountancy program and the Masters of Science in Management programs. I am also joined by my colleagues, Hermelina Powell and Kim Brumbaugh, and I'm going to turn it over to them to introduce themselves and say a few words. Hermelina, do you want to go?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Hermelina Powell. I'm the Assistant Director, of Student Services for MSF and MSBA. I look forward to, meeting you guys. It's great to be with you right now, and we'll have lots of opportunities to touch base. I'm looking forward to be part of your experience.
And Kim?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kim Brumbaugh, and I'm the Associate Director in Student Services, and I serve the Executive Master of Nonprofit Administration team and also the Master of Nonprofit Administration residential program. And I have been at Notre Dame for 19 years, in the past year here at my recent Student Services position, and I'd like to welcome everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. So our job is really to be here for you. We've been planning for your arrival for some time already, and we are going to be there on the day that you graduate. And we're going to be there for so many things in between. So really, we see the student services and the student relationships as a partnership, and we're here to walk with you during this time. We want to hear about your goals, we want to listen to your challenges, and we want to rejoice with you with your accomplishments. We really are all-encompassing, so we will be the liaison to all of the different areas throughout Notre Dame. So during your time here, you really will interact with us on so many different levels. So welcome. That is our team.
Thank you so much. I'm getting more and more excited about the start of classes, and I know it's coming up quickly, and I'm sure all of you are actually getting ready to graduate here, so there's probably a lot going on. So thank you so much. So we will talk a little bit more about what to expect as we build the community. It sounds like, one question that I would probably have is like, have you found housing, you know, and start teaming up on, I think there's a couple of Slack channels that the admissions team have put together or different LinkedIn groups. But I wanted to invite each of our admissions directors to chime in and share with you some upcoming dates for, you know, introductions to faculty or different events that they might have ongoing prior to orientation. So let's start with, oh yeah, thank you, Phil, thanks.
So I'm happy to jump in. So MSM team, I know that you've been getting a slew of different emails from me. I sent out an email yesterday with our upcoming happy hours and coffee chats here before we start orientation. Keep an eye out also, I will be hosting a one-on-one session that you're invited to with the academic director of that program, Chris Muir, for a chance to ask all your questions regarding the summer term and also curriculum. So stay tuned for that one.
Awesome, thanks, Phil. And let's go with Stephanie.
Yeah, so the next event, or actually even before talking about events, everyone in the MSBA program should have received an invitation to join our Slack channel yesterday. And so I'm seeing a lot of new folks join, even as we're in this meeting, I'm seeing folks join, which is great. So I encourage all of you, please introduce yourselves in the chat there and get to know each other. It's okay to take those discussions off of that channel, but it's a great place to meet everyone and just start those introductions. So please do that. On May 13th, we'll have our first admitted, or I should say confirmed student event. We have a happy hour. So you'll get some more information about that here early next week. And that's just a fun time. You can bring your favorite beverage and we'll have some icebreakers and get to know everyone. I'll also be doing a couple of other happy hours through the course of the next month. So all the way through mid-June, we'll have those. So join one, join all, whatever you like. I'll also have a couple of coffee chats in late May. And those are a great opportunity for you all to get to know your new co-academic directors for the MSBA. I'm sure that all of you already know who Dr. Scott Nestler is. You've seen him in webinars. He's answered lots of questions for you. And Scott is handing the baton off to some amazing colleagues, Seth Berry and Sharif Najim, and they are going to be able to meet you during those coffee chats, so you'll get a chance to do that. So join me for those as well.
Awesome, thank you so much, Stephanie. And let's go with Shane McCoy.
Hey everybody, so for the MSA group, I hope you were all able to attend the coffee chat we had last week, but we will be continuing those monthly leading up to August. The next opportunity, you'll be getting an email here shortly after this meeting today. We have a welcome with Professor and Academic Director Jim Saida. For those that you have not met him, he is the Academic Director. So that will be on Tuesday, the May 25th. So be on the lookout for an email. And then, as I mentioned, the coffee chats throughout the summer, and still be active on Slack and getting to know your classmates leading into fall.
Awesome. And Christopher Dittmar.
Thank you, Maria. Again, welcome to everyone. And I'll be working with Kim to set up an opportunity for a coffee chat for all our admitted and confirmed candidates. And that will be taking place shortly after our executive M&A program gets started this summer. If you have additional questions in terms of housing, I know I've had an opportunity to reach out to many of you. Please don't hesitate to contact me. Happy to follow up on that. And again, hearty welcome.
Thanks. And last but not least, Elliot.
Thanks. So for the MSF program, the primary thing that we have right now is our Slack channel. If you haven't posted in that to introduce yourself to your classmates, please do. If you have questions about that, definitely let me know. And then after you guys finish finals at your other institutions, about a week or two before classes start, I'm planning on doing a happy hour. We'll have Catherine Spees join us, our academic director for the program and one of my favorite professors ever. Yeah, so we'll do a virtual happy hour, hopefully when you guys are done with the stress of finals and papers and exams and all of the things.
Thank you. Wonderful. That sounds like we are jumping into further preparation, because now there are a little bit more things that you might have to add to your agenda, but all good things in preparation for being here on campus. So I'm going to pass this over to Teresa to share more about what to expect and to talk a little bit more about COVID and vaccination.
Sure. Yeah, first I want to start off thinking about your mindset and sort of the expectations and sort of getting yourself ready for your time here. Our hope is that you really lean into this experience and come ready to participate and engage and focus. And when I say engage, I mean engage in a way that is thoughtful for yourself, but also thoughtful for others. Have an open mind, be prepared to give feedback, but also be prepared to receive feedback. This is really going to be the best way that you're going to grow as an individual. Be authentic. You're really going to get the most out of this experience if you can be honest with yourself and others, and just really be fully invested in this experience. In order to hit the ground running, it really is important that you come fully prepared. And so one of those things is really making sure that you're checking off those to-do lists and becoming Irish. And I know we'll touch on that a bit more later, but that is a really important thing, just to make sure you're ready before you get here. So the university has announced with regards to the vaccinations that everyone will need to be vaccinated before they arrive on campus for both the summer and fall semesters. So you'll just need to make sure that you are vaccinated before you arrive on campus for orientation. If you haven't been able to get your vaccine yet, you can work with the University Health Services to help you find a location where you can get vaccinated. Once you have been vaccinated, you'll need to upload your vaccination card to the university system. There's a student portal, and it's not open quite yet. I want to say it opens up May 8th. So if you've already been vaccinated, just hold on to your card and then go in there in like a little over a week and upload it there. You can find more information on the vaccination and requirements and what's acceptable, and those things may even change as far as like just make sure you're keeping up to date on becoming Irish, so because we have lots of information there. There are also just current COVID policies that I want to mention, so like things that are expected of you on campus. As I'm sure you've probably experienced everywhere, these policies are just ever changing. As our COVID numbers change, the policies change. And so hopefully they'll just continue to change for the better. The university will communicate these changes with you. But as of right now, you'll be expected to wear a mask while you're in the building just to protect the community. Currently, the policy will allow you to take off your mask when you're outdoors if you're not in a large group. But as I said, those things can change. So just make sure you're staying up to date on the policies. You can go to here.nd.edu, and that's really where the university announces everything that's sort of expected of you when it comes to these policies. They're here to protect us and the entire community, and just to keep everyone safe, and so that we can remain in person and on campus. That's been our biggest goal since we all started in person last fall, and that's just what we continue to strive for. Morgan, am I missing anything?
No, I think you covered it pretty well. I think the here.nd.edu site is a great resource just to stay up to date on all the COVID changes we're experiencing here on campus.
Thank you. Becoming Irish, as many of you already know and have been checking things off, it really is your resource to make sure you're up to speed and ready to begin your program. So that'll be a really big piece of the puzzle in getting yourself prepared. So be sure to continue to check off those things in a timely fashion so that when you get here, you're really ready to dive in and take full advantage of everything that Mendoza has to offer. Now I want to pass it over to my colleague, Hermelina, to talk a little bit more about the international orientations. Hermelina, can you take it from here?
I sure can. Hello again. So international students, a word to you. We are providing a very engaging and worthwhile international student orientation for you. We value you. We value your contribution here, and we want to make sure that we address with you your transition to living in the US and also your experience becoming part of Notre Dame. You belong here, and as Teresa said, we are here for you, okay? So that's something to look forward to. And also to our domestic students, this is an opportunity for you with your cohort. This is a great time to engage with those around you and make the most, not only of your experience here, but your own personal growth also as well. So we'll look forward to spending time together, all together during orientation. And specifically, we will address the needs and the expectations and the experience for international students. So did you want me to say anything about the visas at all? Leah's going to talk about that later.
Yeah, actually, it might not, yeah, Leah will be here in a few minutes. So we can pass over that and then we'll get back to it. Thank you, Hermelina.
I can jump back in. So not only do we have those international orientation, and you can see the different dates for the international orientations here, depending on your program. We also have the orientations for all students, and those dates are listed here as well. The one that is not there is the MSA AIP, and that one is just, it's not listed because all AIP students are also expected to attend the August orientation. The AIP orientation, it's really more of an intro to your classes. That one is scheduled for June 2nd and 3rd, and that's going to be virtual like the rest of your program. And so you will be getting more information about that soon. Then the rest of these are all in-person orientation. So we have the MSF orientation scheduled for June 7th through 11th. MSM will be June 14th through the 18th. MSBA and MSA are August 16th through the 20th. And then MNA is August 18th through the 21st. We have lots of great things planned for orientation, and there will be a lot of really critical information delivered during these days. You're going to meet faculty, career development, you'll hear from program leadership. We just have a lot of great things planned. We're really excited for you all to get here. This is also the time to really start to get to know your classmates. So it'll be very, very important that you, come just ready to meet people and to learn and to engage. And that's also why it's so important that you attend orientation from beginning to end. We're working on finalizing the details of your schedules and hope to have a tentative schedule out to you about a month prior to your orientation. So you can expect that in an email. One question that people often ask is sort of, thinking about what to plan for, what to wear. We're going to be doing a variety of things during orientation. So some days you'll want to be comfortable and casual. Other days you'll want business attire, but we're going to communicate all of this to you and what you need for each day, so it won't be a surprise. There'll probably be a time where you'll do your business headshots, and so you want professional attire. You may be doing community service and you may want to be comfortable, so we'll make sure that you know what to expect for that.
Thank you so much, Teresa. I'm really excited. So in full disclosure, I've only been here for 6 months, so I've not participated in orientations, but I'm really looking forward to seeing and hearing from all the students and actually being present for those. So thank you for all the work you and your team are doing to make it wonderful. All right.
Excited.
Yeah. All right. So I am going to move the slides over, and now we have some priorities. So I'm going to ask Morgan and Kalinda if you wouldn't mind hopping on to speak into how we should be thinking about becoming Irish.
Yeah, I'll kick this one off and then hand it over to Kalinda to talk through some of the Becoming Irish items. Like Teresa mentioned, we have some really great experiences planned for you during your orientations here on campus. We want to maximize your time on campus and give you just really great opportunities to get out on campus and build community within your program. In order to do that, we need you to just knock out some of the nitty-gritty details and tasks ahead of time. So we build those out into Becoming Irish. So all of those different checklist items within Becoming Irish, asking you to set up your net ID, do some pre-work, those different things. We don't want to take up time to do those in your orientation schedule. So we really need you to commit to getting all of those Becoming Irish checklist items done ahead of time. So I'm going to hand it over to Kalinda to talk through some of the different pieces of the Becoming Irish sites that you're looking at right now.
Good morning. If you are looking at your Becoming Irish, you typically have a first column item, set of items that are your confirmation. Those are the ones that are verifying that you have been confirmed as part of the program, your transcripts, any application forms, and any contingency pre-work that you have to complete before you start the program. You also have in the middle column several different action items and forms that we just need submitted back to us to process everything for you. There are some due dates associated with various items, and those are very important to help us make sure we have everything ready for you when you do arrive on campus. Academically, there's pre-work on some of your sites. Those might include program pre-work, class pre-work, a writing assessment, career development, such as VMOC, or which is for resumes. Those are important. They take time, so I would highly recommend that you get started on it because you don't want to be behind as you're preparing to come to campus for your program.
Thank you, Kalinda. Yeah, and in addition to some of those checklist items, there's also helpful information in there around registration, when to arrive to campus, and under resources section, some scheduling pieces. And we'll be sure to keep those updated as things evolve too.
Thank you both so much. I know it's super helpful to have kind of next steps in place, and especially like what we should be focused on here as the time approaches quite quickly, actually. So we are going to move forward here a bit to get to the question and answer session. And many of these questions have already been answered, so literally they're up here just as examples, but there might be some that you have not asked in the chat. I also, at this time, wanted to introduce Leah Zimmer, who's the Director of International Student and Scholar Affairs, to join us. She has a wealth of information for our international students, and I wanted to be sure that we were able to provide some insight there. So Leah, if you're available now, please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah, hi, thank you, Maria. And it's a pleasure to be here with so many of you and be able to be a part of this welcome. And wanted to provide just a little bit of information for our international students. This certainly continues to be a really complicated time to get to a consulate, get the visa, get here, and we just want to encourage you that we are continuing to see really good information from the Department of State. Our students in China and Brazil, you may have seen, and this week that the Department of State announced that F1 student visa holders would be permitted to travel to the US without the quarantine requirements. We continue to communicate with them and monitor announcements from them to determine when visa appointments will also be opening. So our office is primarily responsible for issuing the eligibility documents that you need to get your F1 or J1 visa. And we are processing those every day. We're sending them out rather quickly. And so know that once you have completed the processes with Mendoza's team, that we get your admissions packet, we issue those eligibility documents, and you'll get an email from us directly that tells you what to do next. Like, what are your next steps once you have that Form I-20 or that Form DS 2019? One of the things to just remember is that, and that we've really learned in the last year, is that the situations at the consulates changes constantly. And so once you have your eligibility documents, you have your CVIS ID, you have that I-20 or that DS 2019, you have everything you need to be ready to apply for a visa appointment as they open. And you are going to want to monitor those embassy and consulate websites to determine what the access is. If you want to consider applying in a third country, you're going to want to go directly to the country that you want to visit and determine what are their entry requirements, what will it look like to get back to your home country once you've exited, and do they allow third country national applications? Because that really varies widely. There's more than 300 consulates and embassies around the world, and each one has a slightly different set of expectations and rules. So you'll have everything that you need. Once we've issued the I-20, you have your admission letter, your finances, your passport, all of that's going to be in place. And then you're going to want to continue to monitor and see what happens. If you have questions about what happens if you aren't able to get your visa in time, that will be a great question for your program directors within Mendoza or the admissions team to talk through them what the options might be. But we remain really hopeful. It's been a much better spring in terms of opportunities growing, and just know you'll have what you need. Continue to monitor, and we look forward to welcoming you to campus soon.
Thank you so much, Leah. Like, what hopeful insight you bring today. And we do have one question about uploading visa documents by what date for specific programs. And I think that's probably more of an admissions question. So I wonder if Stephanie wouldn't mind answering that in the chat.
Yeah, I'm on it, but I would also just say that as soon as possible. I think if there is a deadline, it should be listed there in Becoming Irish, but for visa documents as soon as possible. That way Leah and her team can then process that I-20 for you, and then you will have as much time as possible to then secure that visa appointment and then plan your travel.
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to extend another words of appreciation and a thank you, Leah, for being here this morning with all of our students. It is really important that we make it as seamless as possible, given our current situation, and also just making sure that we're able to accommodate as best we can through this transition. So thank you so much. So the floor is really open. So what I would ask is, if you're familiar with using, I'm sure we're all familiar with using Zoom. That's probably a little bit patronizing, sorry about that. But so if you can raise your hand in Zoom, and we can have you come off of mute to ask questions, or we're happy to field questions in the chat as well. Again, we just want, if you have a question, it's likely somebody else does too.
And Maria, we did have a question from a bit earlier in the chat, someone asking about dress code for classes, but I think it's also important to talk about dress code for orientation as well.
Oh yeah, okay, and I think yeah. So Morgan, or Teresa, can we talk about dress code for classes?
Sure, yeah. So classes for the most part will be pretty casual, unless you have like a presentation or something like that, then you probably will dress up a bit more in business attire. But for the most part, you can be casual for classes. I think I touched on dress code for orientation, in that you'll have a variety of things to wear, because we'll be doing a variety of things, but we'll be communicating with you like what days are expected to be casual versus what days you should plan to wear business attire, and so on and so forth.
Awesome, thank you. One thing that did come up was, I think in one of our admissions team meetings, was about housing prior to the time that orientation starts, and if there's a conflict. And so I wanted to bring Shane on just to speak into this a little bit, and we can offer some resources to you as well.
Yeah, thanks, Maria. So campus few apartments, I was notified by a few of our students that the move-in date was after orientation. So if that is the case, so go back and hopefully wrote down the orientation dates and see if your move-in date conflicts with the orientation date. And if there is a conflict, be sure to reach out to admissions, and we can get you a letter that you can provide to the leasing office to hopefully move forward your move-in date, so you will be able to join us for orientation. Because as Teresa mentioned, it's important that you're there to get to know your classmates, but then also the very important information that will be shared. So awesome. Yeah, that's a little bit about the campus view. And I also believe it's campus court as well has conflicting move-in dates.
Okay, that's great. And then Elliot shared that if you need a place to stay before you move in, that's quite reasonable. St. Mary's Parish, which I believe is very close by, offers some accommodations for like maybe under $40 a night or something like that. So just know that there are some other, if you want to get a hotel or what have you, or haven't found just a place to crash before you actually move into your new place. And then thank you, Shane, so much. So we have another question: when and how do we register for classes?
Take that. So it is going to depend on your program. We will be communicating all of this to you as well, but for our MSA students, you will have, you'll self-register for your classes, and that'll probably be towards the end of July. For those MSA students in the AIP program, you have been registered in classes, and you'll receive an email from me shortly about those classes. For the other programs, so MSM, MSF, MNA, and MSBA, you will be all administratively registered for your classes. And so that'll probably happen about a month before classes start. And so there's really nothing that you need to do, but you'll hear from student services letting you know when that has been done. And if there are any questions, some of our programs have cohorts, and so there may be we may ask you some questions about if you have any specific needs that we can try to adjust your schedule to. We will ask you. We won't be able to put everyone in their exact preference, but we will certainly ask you if there's an option in times, if there's something that would work better for you. So just look for emails from student services.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. Looking at, so a question for Leah, or also maybe Teresa, is, oh, it looks like it was answered. Sorry, I'm like getting distracted with the chat. And so I saw, so Nimoy said that there should be opportunities to be vaccinated on campus if you're not able to prior to the arrival in the States. Teresa, is there any additional information about that regarding vaccinations here at Notre Dame?
If you're not, I'm sorry, if you're not able to be vaccinated before entering the United States. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the way it's written right now on here in d.edu is that, or .edu, is that they want you to be vaccinated before coming. If you're having trouble, though, you should reach out to the University Health Services and explain what's going on, and they'll be able to point you in the right direction.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And it looks like there are questions about for the MSF and MSM with summer start dates. Is there some sort of break between summer and fall sessions?
Yes, there will be a bit of a break. So for the MSM program, the last class goes until August 13th. So there will be, hold on, August 12th. So I guess there's just a small, like, few days before then orientation will start for, I'm sorry, I've got too many programs in my head.
So many programs.
MSM will have already had orientation.
Yep, you're on track, Teresa. You're right. You got
So
about 1 week.
Thank you. There'll be about 1 week. And I think that's the same for MSF, but I'm going to let Hermelina jump in here on that one.
Oh, Hermelina?
Sorry about that. I also need to take a look at my calendar to tell you how many days you have in between those two periods of time. I'm sorry about that. Are we able to follow up?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
take a look, and we can,
Let's do
we have
that.
time today. Yeah. Awesome. And it looks like we've got the parking question answered, and Kalinda has been answering questions about whether or not you have health services. So thank you so much. I also wanted to, Aditya has a question about what are some steps the M&A program is taking to help students prepare for the job search. Are there any open positions within the university? I can actually answer the open positions at the university one. So we will list in some resources about places where you can start looking for jobs. There is a student employment on this link. So I will add that to the chat soon so that you can take a look at what's available. We also have a teaching assistant RA job bank is what it's called right now. And so there is a process for that. So we have resumes that are sent in to a specific email address that are then uploaded for our faculty to review if they decide that they want to hire teaching assistants. There isn't a strong communication just yet between like whether or not faculty have decided on a group of people to interview or how to move forward with that. So we're working on that process, but there are opportunities. So if you do have a question about becoming a TA or an RA, please reach out to your admissions directors right now, and they will help to guide you through that process. But I would definitely look at campus housing. Stephanie, Shane, Phil, Christopher, Elliot, do you have any other insight into employment?
Yeah, be sure to upload your resume on the Becoming Irish for the TA and RA role, as Maria mentioned, but then there will be a link to the jobs portal for other on-campus opportunities outside of Mendoza.
And I think doing some research, oh, sorry, go ahead, Christopher.
In addition to posting the resume for the RA or TA position, there is a link on our Notre Dame site for looking for positions. And part of it too is contingent on your arrival at Notre Dame. You know, certainly if you're going to be here, you know, a week or two before orientation, it may be problematic to try to find some work. Whereas in the cases of programs that'll be starting this fall, if you're here in the summer, there may be, you know, a 2-month, it may be a 3-month opportunity. So again, there's some variance there.
And I would say continue doing research kind of on your own, but also reaching out to our amazing career development team. They're always happy to hear from incoming students. The team members that you should reach out to are Jessica Stuckey, Lisa Michaels, and Lindsay McIntyre, and they're all able to answer questions. But depending on which program you're working with, you may be kind of shifted around to be put in contact with the person that's working directly with you once you arrive on campus.
Yeah, and you know, I think the question about preparation for working with career development is really a question about, like, you know, as you are in a very particular program for a reason, and that is to accelerate your career, help to create a pivot. And our career development team has a ton of resources and opportunities to work closely with a coach to really refine, like, your resume. You're doing mock interviews to connect you in with opportunities. So that'll all come through the program, but you can start doing things, you know, over the summer after you graduate to really prepare for that. So if you want to, you know, go into consulting, you can start reading some books about the case method. So we would encourage you to jump on that if in some of those just general preparation around that. So I know that there's been some other questions coming in, and I wonder if anybody else has seen one in particular that would be good for many.
Yeah, Maria, there's been a question about specifically international students having received their vaccinations that are approved in their home country, but not necessarily approved here in the U.S. at this point. Can we speak a little bit more to that? I've been receiving a lot of questions in the past week about that, so I'd love to address that.
Yeah. Teresa, did you want to?
Sure. Yes, right now the required vaccines are the FDA approved vaccines, and they're listed on the here.nd or here.nd.edu website. Leah, if you're still here and if you could chime in, I think that I heard you say in a past meeting that there is a chance that those could change. And the university will keep us up to date if they do. But if we're getting, so continue to check that page to see if there are any updates. But if we're getting close to the time when you need to be here, just reach out to University Health Services, and they can help you get the vaccinations that you need.
Yes, Teresa, I would agree. That's what the plan is continue to monitor and then reach out to University Health Services. And they've been advising within 4 weeks of your arrival date, so they have time to sort of make plans and help you get what you need.
Yeah, thank you. And Leah, we might have another question here for you as well. So Nimoy's asking, you know, with COVID running rampant in many countries right now, if an international student is not able to physically attend Mendoza due to ongoing lockdowns, will they be able to secure and not being able to secure an embassy? What will happen? Oh, actually, this is probably more of a question for me here in admissions. So if something happens that's outside of your control as in regards to being here, you know, we in the past have worked with students to defer into the next year. So if that's an option, if there's no other way around it, we're really, and I think Lily earlier asked about the conditions here on campus, we're working very hard to have a fully in-person experience. And so the safety and the health of our students is the #1 priority, and we've taken many measures to ensure that. And so we're asking that students join us here on campus, and for some reason outside of your control, big reason, COVID or embassy, like, we will work with you in admissions to ensure that, you know, in the following year that you still have a place here. So that would be probably last, not the best case scenario, but we, again, are happy to work with you on an individual basis. So what I would do is ask your respective admissions director, have that question, see if we can do some problem solving and some, brainstorming around what potential there is. But we are not hosting classes in the hybrid format, which I think we started when, last fall with the advent of COVID. I would also really want to express to all of you here today, and we have been through an amazing year, and that is probably putting words that shouldn't be there for many of our communities, for us personally. It has shaped and changed, how we think about things, and we want to wish you and your family all the very best as we continue forward. And we do know that our brothers and sisters in India and Brazil have seen massive increases in COVID. So, we know that there are, there's just a lot of struggles. And at the US, we remember at the beginning of it last March, what that was like. So, we're sending all of our best prayers for you and your families. So sharing that from all of us to all of you. I know that we only have a few more minutes here, and there's still some questions coming through, and we do want to take the time to answer them for you. So what else can we provide to you today? And it looks like John is still asking about the ideas of when the week-long break is between orientation and the start of the program. And Teresa, it looks like you might want to say something.
Well, I thought I was following, but then I just want to make sure I understood. Is the question between when the summer classes end and when the fall classes start?
Mm-hmm.
So I think for both MSF and MSM, the summer classes will end August 12th, whatever that Friday is. And then for the fall, they'll begin August 23rd, like a Monday. So it's about a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Specifically in answer to the question for MSF, you have summer classes that are in the summer term that are going from 6/14 to 7/30, June 14th to July 30th. And then you have Bridge to Success and an ethics course that's actually in the fall term, but it's during your summer courses, which is August 2nd through August 14th. So like Teresa was saying, it's like about a week before the start of the fall classes officially, from the 16th of August through the 20th of August.
Okay, that sounds great. A little bit of respite there. So we have some questions about, do we have confirmations on the global experiences that would happen in the spring? And also a question about student tickets for athletics. So the global experience, who can speak to those questions?
I can try briefly. So some of our programs may be able to participate in an international immersion in the spring. I guess it's hard to answer those questions right this very second, just, the way things are always ever changing, but we're hopeful that we will be able to have an international immersion this coming spring. And that occurs during, we've got an interterm week, and then that is backed up to our spring break. So it occurs over those 2 weeks. It's usually about a week and a half that you would travel. I don't have information on where we would be going and that sort of thing, but we are hopeful that those programs will happen in the spring. I'm a little hesitant because it's not open to every single program. Some of our programs have interterm requirements that they absolutely have to take for their program. And so it's not every program that can participate. But we'll be communicating with you more about which programs are able to do that, and also just holding information sessions once we get a little closer.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, there's so much influx still with that. And what about for students getting athletics tickets? I know that as a staff member, we can go on to the athletic sites for tickets. And I think that there's like a drop down that kind of shares a little bit more about purchasing tickets for students, whether or not there's a fee. Does anybody have any experience with that? And Phil, because you were a student here, maybe you might have the most experience.
Phil dropped, but I can answer that.
Okay.
So the students should get information later on about football tickets. So that will come to you. Don't worry about missing an email, because I'm sure your classmates will be abuzz about it when that email comes through. And those are a great deal. You know, I remember as an MSF student having some classmates say it's $400 per game. No, it's like $400 for all of the games. So that's a pretty good price for some Notre Dame games, especially someone mentioned Notre Dame USC. That's usually a pretty expensive ticket to come by, and you get to buy that together as a package. For other sporting events, you won't get anything sent to you asking if you want to buy them. I think for basketball and hockey that there is a price tag on those. But check out those individual websites. There's always a section on student tickets, and then there are some other athletic events. And, you know, I think there are some ND student athletes in the chat. You know, I think like the track team and the soccer team and lacrosse, some of those other really cool sports. You know, we have a really great fencing team at the university, swimming. I don't want to miss anyone. Those events, I think, are usually free to attend for students as long as you have your student ID.
Okay, thank you so much, Elliot. This is exciting. And so, you know, just as we close today, I know that some of your questions have not been answered, or if they are, please send it to your respective admissions directors, and they will, you know, forward or get the answer for you at this point. We have expressed, we are so excited that you're here and look forward to seeing you live in person soon. One of the things that we wanted to share just as we wrap up is that, you know, we are a values-based organization here. We're very mission-driven at this graduate management education and each of your respective programs at Mendoza. And, you know, we're an evolving community as it relates to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and really making sure that we are, you know, going strong and building out not only servant leadership, but also inclusive leadership. So we look forward to your engagement. Your contributions are going to matter to us. And we're very much happy that you're here with us today. So this meeting will be recorded and it will be posted in Becoming Irish. So if anything was missed, you can always refer back to it. But I would like to thank Leah Zimmer for being here today. And I'd also like to thank my colleagues here for sharing the enthusiasm, the excitement, and the insights for all of you. And of course, thank you so much. I know some of you are in many different time zones, and we really appreciate you joining us this morning. Thanks again. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, evening, and we will be in touch and available to you. All right. Thank you so much.